Hey, welcome film fans. Thank you for joining me for my review of Ready or Not, part of my Throwback Thursday series where my subscribers get to vote on movies that I've never seen before for me to review. And this is the one that won. Went into this film, I had low expectations because from the trailer, it looks like one of those low produced horror films that you see get recapped on YouTube. But it's so much more. If you want to join the fun, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel so you can definitely join the community and vote on my next review. Let's start off with the premise. Grace, played by Samara Weaving, couldn't be happier after she marries the man of her dreams at his luxury family estate. There's just one catch. She must now hide from midnight until dawn while her new in-laws hunt her down with guns, crossbows, and other weapons. As Grace desperately tries to survive the night, she soon finds a way to turn tables on her not-so-lovable relatives. Let's start off with the good. Samara Weaving's performance in this film is the brightest, most prominent high spot in the film in totality. I think that she did a great job of making this character, Grace, so likable, so lovable, so fun. Seemed like the perfect partner. I wanted to marry her. I really enjoyed her trying to be accepted by the family, despite them being kind of weird, and just how much she loved her husband. She just seemed like such a really easy character to root for. The movie starts off like one of those awkward rom-coms where the wife-to-be or the new girlfriend is trying to be accepted by the family, but the family is either weird, members of the family like her, and it was really a comfortable feeling and a feeling that I understand because I love rom-coms, and I thought it was an interesting start to the film. Hides the fact that something weird and off is going on because these things happen in rom-coms, so I think that was a nice twist that they had, and especially with the grandmother who just kept staring her down like she wanted to rip her head off. And then after, some conversations about the family and her place in the family and everything, Samara Weaving's character Grace gets married to her husband-to-be Alex, and soon after, when they're trying to have a little bit of fun, he tells her that they have to play a game with the whole family, her new family, because there's a family tradition. Really weird that you have to play a game with the family on your wedding night, but everybody has their weird family traditions. After the patriarch of the family goes through a very detailed explanation about how they got their wealth and how they started in games and everything that goes to the great-great-grandfather, and you start getting an inkling that there's some mysticism behind some of this stuff. What happens next is that Grace pulls this card and it says that she has to play hide and seek. And I think that this scene was perfectly executed because of how naive Grace is, not knowing what's going on while everybody else around her knew what was going on. It was a combination of some awkward fun, but also terrifying at the same time because the situation feels funny. And, just like that rom-com I'm talking about, this is a classic scene that you will see from a rom-com. The way the movie is being positioned is a lot more sinister feeling, and you start picking up, okay, this is gonna go haywire. We soon discover that this is a deadly version of the kids game, and Grace's naivety and the family's earnest trying to go get her and kill her really made the movie just take it up to another notch. I just loved how Grace was just prancing through the hallways and just so happy and just like while they're grabbing crossbows, guns, and all shotguns and all these different things to come hunt her down. She's not having no understanding, and she actually picked a really good spot to hide the first time, and it probably would have took a very long time for them to find her, especially since they had no cameras, because she doesn't understand the severity of the situation. She comes out of the place that she was hiding and starts walking around, and it just added a layer of fear because this character who's being hunted does not know what the heck is going on. So if she could run into somebody that should be a friendly person that she thinks that's on her side, and they can easily get her. What adds to the engagement for me specifically, and hopefully for you, let me know in the comments below if this added to the feel of the movie, is the fact that if they don't catch Grace by sunrise, this deal that they made with whatever entity it is will kill the family members. And I added a very good ticking time, okay, they have to do this at a certain time, so she just has to survive till dawn. It really added a lot of engaging elements to the film, where another film that was lesser might have not had that in there, and it was just going to be the final girl just running around trying to get away from them and it being super serious. And I like that they added that bit there, and the fact that the family were not all in on it. Like Alex didn't want this to happen at all, and he was in the background trying to save his new-to-be wife. His brother didn't really want to do it, but he didn't want to go against his family. It just was cool that the family had distinct personalities, some of them funny, some of them more serious, just had their place in the film as different kinds of characters. This leads to Alex finding a way to get to Grace before she runs into one of his family members and saves her from getting in contact with his sister-in-law. Pulls her into a room and hides behind a bed. The sister-in-law thinks that it's her standing up and kills one of the maids. And was, I think, the best way to reveal this. Not Grace running into the family member and they're shooting and missing or anything like that, which is very stereotypical, but something a little fresher. And I think Samara Weaving's reaction was perfect. Samara Weaving's performance after this was absolutely perfect and mesmerizing. From her going from like a traumatized, confused state, not understanding what is going on and not even listening to the explanation from Alex, getting to rage mode because she can't believe that he put her in this situation, but her not fully understanding that he had no choice because she didn't do it. They would have killed both of them anyway. And then going from her into this days of survival mode and how cunning and smart that she was throughout the movie. I really like that she was a smart final girl, a smart protagonist, and she wasn't like helpless. She could help herself. She reminded me a lot of the main girl from You're Next. And the movie has some similarities to You're Next, but this film has a lot more humor in it than that. I think You're Next played it a little bit more seriously, and this one is more humorous. And as Grace is going through near-death experiences, barely avoiding multiple times of death, and Samara Weaving's facial acting and her primordial screams really selling each moment. Where the movie shines is the fact that it doesn't take itself super seriously like a lot of movies in this genre. Everyone is in on a joke except Samara Weaving's Grace, which is perfect. She's playing it super serious like she would be in another movie, and all the other actors are having a blast and a lot of fun, playing it very hokey, and it just created a lot of fun and funny moments throughout the movie to cut some of the tension that was going on, where it could have got really, really dry and bogged down and stereotypical. And I really, really enjoy that. And I think Andie MacDowell's performance as the grandmother was perfect. I think she did a great job of eating up the scene and really playing into the hokiness of the character and the family that she was in. And a perfect example of how intense it gets and then goes into a funny moment is that Grace finds herself in a barn trying to hide from the family, and she hears somebody coming in, and they're slowly making their way over to where she is, and it's building the tension, and then you see that as a little kid. So from the standpoint of the viewer, you're like, oh, okay, it's a kid. She should be safe. This is going to be now the little kid is trying to help her. But then when she reveals herself and thinks that the kid is coming to help, he shoots her in her hand straight through it. And I was like, whoa, like I was in pure shock. But that pure shock went into belly aching laughter when she just decks the kid right in the face. And I thought it was so funny because I did not expect it. And after a few really entertaining and fun cat and mouse moments throughout the movie where she tries to get away from each family member and the butler and all these different set pieces that were really fun, they finally catch Grace. And I was really rooting for her to get away and then come back and just murder all of them like a revenge film. But they finally get her. They are preparing to sacrifice her after her even fighting even more and going through a whole bunch of other stuff. And through her grit, her wit, and her smart, she takes the stabbing into her arm or something like that and survives long enough so that sunrise comes. And this is a really great moment, and I think the best part of the movie, which is great. Like a lot of times the ending is not the best part of the movie, and I think that the best segment of the movie is the ending of the film, because throughout the movie they keep talking about how they got to get it through sunrise, they got to get it to sunrise because this entity is gonna take them if they don't give a sacrifice. But throughout the film as well, there's other characters saying, this is not real. This is not real. They just want to murder people. This can't be real. They didn't really do something with like Satan or anything like that. So when the sun comes up and they're all bracing to die, nothing happens. And I was like, what? So they killed all these people tonight because multiple maids and butlers and stuff like that died in the process of this. But they also traumatized Grace for no reason. Someone that could have been a perfectly fine member of their family. A few seconds pass and they're talking and stuff, and then they start blowing up. And I was like, whoa, like I couldn't believe it. I was belly aching, laughing so hard at the moment while also feeling such gratification for Grace for this moment of them all dying. And I thought it was a beautiful moment at the end because obviously she's part of the family, so that means she would die too. But she takes off her ring and says, I want a divorce, and throws it at her husband, who at first was on her side and trying to save her, but because of some events that happened, which are he started trying to sacrifice as well. And as the ring hits him, she explodes. I thought that was an amazing, funny moment, but intense, encompassed everything that was enjoyable about this film. Now let's talk about the bad. So some of the moments in the film felt very convenient for the plot, where a lot of times they had Grace dead to rights, like when she was in the room with Alex and they clearly could have searched the room to see if she was in there, and they didn't do it. Another moment is when Amelia, the sister-in-law of Alex, had her hit point blank with a shot and misses somehow. You know, when she's almost escaping off the grounds and the butler goes by himself for some reason to go get her instead of bringing the whole family and them capturing her and bring her back. So she finds a way to get out of that. It's just certain moments like that that took me a little bit out of the movie. I was like, wait, why didn't do that? But it wasn't a major detriment for me because I understand that this wasn't taking itself super seriously. It's partly a comedy, a dark comedy as well. So I was more accepting of the fact, but it did take me out of the film a little bit, where I had to process it and go like, okay, but this movie's not taking it so seriously, so I can't ding it that much for those moments. Also, I wasn't a huge fan of the yellow greenish tint they used for the cinematography for this film. It made the film feel low produced, low budget, cheap, like those low produced horror films that you see on those recap videos on YouTube. That's why I brought it up, because when I watched the trailer, that's what I felt like was happening. But the movie is so much more. It's a lot better written than those kind of movies, a lot better performed, and had a little bit of a message about, the rich. This is another the rich are bad kind of films, but it was just really, really fun. But I wish that it was more well made in terms of the cinematography, the soundscape. Sometimes the shots didn't sound too great. And I'm pretty sure this was on a low budget, but I wish that it had a little bit of a bigger budget to make it look and feel a bit better. Now let's get into my verdict. So despite the film having some filmmaking deficiencies and not having the most original plot or structure, Samara Weaving's fantastic performance. It's the first time I've seen her star in a movie. The first time I ever seen it was in Scream 6, which I thought she was great. And also, the dark comedy, the intense, crazy kills that they had, which were really funny and really gruesome at the same time, made me really, really love this movie, and has huge replay value for me. I could see me watching this with other people who have not seen it before and just having a blast, having a great time, and not taking it too seriously. So with that said, I'm going to give Ready or Not a B+. Did you like it? Did you hate it? What would you rate Ready or Not if you have seen the film? And if you have not, let me know if you're going to check it out. And the question today is, comment down below your answer. If you had the opportunity to take the deal that this family did to get all the fame and fortune, would you do it? Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you can be notified of my reviews, reactions, ranking lists, live discussions, and more. And you can catch more of my content